A covenant with the unseen fire, you feel it, don't you? That pervasive, invisible weight that has systematically leached the marrow from your days. A chronic apathy that dulls the brilliance of your perception, and an anxiety that shatters your focus into 1,000 fragmented stimuli. There is a compulsion, a relentless, quiet drain that erases your very presence from the space you occupy. Hold on, before we unlock the real power of semen retention, hit that subscribe button and join our Telegram channel. Link in description. We drop daily wisdom, success tools, and energy secrets only shared there. Don't watch from the sidelines, become part of the movement. This is the condition of the uninitiated. The man whose vital reservoir is constantly breached, leaving him porous to the world's chaos and deaf to his own inner mandate. But within you lies an architecture of power, a blueprint whispered by your ancestors. A seed code that the modern world, in its pursuit of cheap, immediate release, has desperately tried to bury. This code is the essence of your energetic DNA, the protocol that can reprogram your nervous system, restore clear direction to your mind, and finally reinstall the rule of spirit over the tyranny of the physical body. This is more than a video. It is a summons to a rite of passage, a crossing over from the domain of waste and dispersion into the realm of sovereign authority. The keys we offer are not poetic metaphors, but practical, visceral protocols for transmutation. You're about to learn why the discipline of vital conservation, what tradition calls retention, is not a form of repression, but a sacred, operational technology. We will chart the ascension of this potent energy, showing how it recesses from the root centers through the spinal axis, ultimately reigniting the master glands of the crown, the pituitary, and the pineal to reorder your energetic field and turn unformed, scattered desire into an executable destiny. Stay vigilant, stay rooted. For the information that follows is a map to rebuild conscious vitality and align your life irrevocably with the mission you already sense beating. A low, persistent rhythm within your heart. If the gravity of this message resonates, if it calls your name across the noise, you are among the chosen. Your silent decision to stand upright shifts the field of the world. The great civilizations, the Egyptians who raised temples to meet the trajectory of stars, the rishis of India who mapped the inner landscape, the Greek initiates who valued excellence above all, never once treated the vital essence as a mere biological fluid to be dispensed without thought. They understood it as condensed divine fire, a concentrated spark of creation capable of igniting and driving a man's highest destiny. In Egypt, this inner reserve was the inner Nile, the vital current that, when guarded, was said to rise and nourish the higher faculties. In India, the subtle substance was named Oyas, the source of unshakable courage, pristine clarity, and a powerful, silent magnetism that drew reality to the bearer. The Greek ideal of Aratitha, excellence of character that translated into living authority, was always predicated on mastery over base, compulsive impulses. Across every veiled scroll and every hermetic tract, the rule was consistent. Vital conservation was spiritual alchemy. The man ceased to be a ship tossed by the chaotic, hormonal tides of his inner ocean and began, with the steady hand of an initiated pilot, to steer them with conscious direction. The essence, the seed, was regarded as a vehicle of the soul, a container of dense, energetic information passed not only through biological lineage but through an active code of intention. Ancient texts, sometimes deemed forbidden knowledge, spoke of a silent, unbreakable pact. Those who preserve their vital core keep the operational keys to longevity, piercing lucidity, and an unshakable presence in the moment. The language of the ancients was symbolic, yes, but the operation was profoundly practical. Guarding the seed sculpts a field of coherence around the man. The mind recognizes this coherent field as fertile, purposeful silence, and the heart translates it into a burning, unnegotiable purpose. This discipline does not promise biological immortality, but it guarantees an extension of conscious awareness into every micro-decision of daily life, shifting a man's choices from the realm of the random and reactive to those that obey a clear, authoritative inner design. The modern, materialistic era reframed the body as a machine, a useful simplification for the isolated environment of the laboratory. But in doing so, it impoverished the true meaning of the seed, reducing it to a strictly reproductive function. Science excelled at analyzing molecules, hormones, and synaptic connections. Yet it completely sidelined the domain of power that rulers and microscopes cannot measure, the electrical and magnetic dimension of human behavior. When the sexual energy, the most potent source within the human system, is disciplined, the man who retains notices an immediate, undeniable shift. His nervous system stabilizes, his voice gains a quiet, gravitational density, and his attention cuts through distraction with a penetrating ease once thought impossible. This is not airy mysticism. It is the fundamental recognition that the entire human system functions as a coherent electrical circuit. The conscious direction of this foundational energy radically shifts the quality of thought, the essential texture of emotion, and the fundamental stance toward the world. This newfound direction manifests most profoundly in the auric field, the subtle, energetic envelope that every human can sense, even if unconsciously. We sense it when we enter a room and instantly feel respect, caution, or trust for someone before a single word has been exchanged. Each cycle of conscious retention acts like a craftsman's hammer, forging a new, invisible thickness in this field, making the bearer less porous to external noise and exponentially more responsive to his own inner intention. What ancient traditions called a spiritual shield or a mantle of light appears to the disciplined man as a biogenetic force field, a constant, subtle alignment of breath, impulse, and focus that imprints a pattern of profound order upon the physical form. The gaze ceases, it's frantic, scattered, searching, and the voice deepens and settles. The very skin seems to carry a new, concentrated life force. There is no instant, sudden magic, only accumulation. With every day of conscious guard, the man engraves a silent, non-negotiable reminder into his entire system. The seed is code, and when the code is honored, it rewrites the presence of its bearer. The energy born in the lower abdominal centers was never designed for stagnation or compulsive, thoughtless dispersion. It is, by its very nature, an ascending current, but only when a man chooses to harness and direct it. The process of transmutation begins with recognizing the distinct vertical pathway, from the perineum through the centers of the abdomen, rising along the axis of the spine like an inner fertile river, until it touches the delicate nexus of the nape, the pituitary, and the pineal glands. This discipline speaks directly to the endocrine system with the authority of a master conductor tuning a complex orchestra. Days of consistent retention draw the flood of neurotransmitters and hormones into a steadier, more harmonious rhythm, softening the wild, chaotic peaks and troughs that once governed mood and decision-making. Dopamine is redeemed. It stops acting as a sledgehammer, demanding instant gratification, and returns to its true function, a guiding rail for sustained focus and deep learning. Testosterone, rather than fueling mere aggression or reckless action, finds its true, powerful rest in discipline. The higher glands, the pituitary and pineal no longer, flooded by chaotic hormonal oscillation, come into a steady, resonant alignment with the great cycles of light, sleep, and deep attention. This is why, typically after the first week, the voice settles into a deeper register and the gaze stops anxiously bouncing between distractions. The body stops asking for relief and begins asking for direction. Energy that has not lost firms the very contours of a man's presence and grants the mind the sheer density necessary to sustain a complex purpose for hours, days, and weeks without wavering. At the cellular level, the man who guards his seed notices a subtle, more profound change. The entire organism starts to remember itself differently. This is not genetics changed by a sudden decree, but a fundamental shift in the internal bioelectric climate that subtly informs all cellular behavior. Contain the vital excess to prevent dispersion and energetic collapse. Circulate the contained force along the vertical axis of the spine to deeply nourish the heart and brain. Finally, sublimate the raw impulse into creative vision, intentional word, and purposeful deed. This was never moralism. It was spiritual engineering, practical, high-stakes trade. A man learns to trade the momentary, fleeting pleasure of release for the profound, lasting power of inner direction. And over time, that resolute direction etches an entirely new, authoritative signature of presence into his physical form. Once that signature consolidates, the field around him responds in kind. The immense energy that once begged for chaotic escape becomes a precise, coherent language that life, the world, and reality itself understands and instinctively respects. The raw force that once scattered without form now transforms into a focused vibrational signature that accompanies his presence like an official seal. This energy is now operating as a spiritual, genetic language. This seminal force leaves tracks of order wherever it moves. It organizes the flow of thought, deepens the authority of the voice, and steadies the physical gesture. The body learns to translate this powerful, internal pulse into specific postures, commanding vocal timbres, and 1,000 microdecisions that, taken together, express an unmistakable code. The right people, the precise opportunities, and the doors that once felt irrevocably locked now swing open. The preserved seed communicates, and life replies in kind. Humanity lost the original, guiding code when it mistook freedom for dispersion, by turning the sacred gift of pleasure into a constant, unthinking consumption. And by degrading sexuality into non-stop low-level entertainment, the collective broke the vital bridge between primal impulse and higher transcendence. Culture taught release for cheap, temporary relief, and utterly failed to teach direction for sovereign creation. In this depleted low-energy landscape, the majority of men seek ever stronger, more violent stimuli just to feel something while their inner axis thins to a shadow. To recover the seed code requires the profound courage to swim against the pervasive current of hyperstimulation, and to fully restore the sacred bond between energy and destiny. This small but growing group does not waste energy trying to persuade the sleeping crowds. They prefer, instead, to radiate pattern. As they relentlessly rediscover the seed code, they become living, operational mirrors, silently reminding other men of the immense power that has always been written within them. And when a single man aligns, the entire energetic field of many shifts with him. The vow of energetic purity begins as a singular, decisive choice, and continues as the creation of a disciplined environment. A minimum cycle of 21 days is the standard for the body to abandon its programmed discharge reflexes and learn new, higher routes of internal circulation. The vow is not a dramatic promise made to the outside world. It is a silent pact made with your own vertical axis. During this foundational period, the rules are simple and strict. No voluntary dispersion, absolute hygiene regarding external stimuli, consistent sleep patterns, and nutrition that does not steal vital energy from the core system for digestion. The primary aim is to radically reduce internal friction so that the potent seminal energy remains intact, and the mind is given the necessary spaciousness to steer the ship. In these initial days, a man meticulously observes his triggers, notes the specific times of day when he is most vulnerable to temptation, aggressively reorganizes his routines, and replaces habitual escape mechanisms with microtasks of conscious presence. The vow does not feel like a tightening. It feels like an organization. The daily practice of transmutation is the absolute bridge between abstract intention and concrete physiology. Morning and night, the drill is simple and unvarying. Upright spine, chin gently tucked, shoulders loose and relaxed. Practice the four-phase breathing pattern that consciously links the lower belly, the diaphragm, and the base of the skull. On the inhale, the focus must be placed on the perineum as a subtle, inner leva, consciously raising the vital tide along the entire spinal axis. In the brief pause at the top, attention visits the heart center and the nape of the neck. On the exhale, release all physical tension without allowing the concentrated energy to drop or scatter. In the final, brief pause, the mind rests in the space between thoughts. The gaze remains soft, as if watching the entire process from deep within the core. Over time, this deliberate choreography of breath and attention sheds the need for effort and becomes an automatic, internal rail for the ascending current. In any moment of unexpected temptation, the same protocol is immediately triggered for 2 or 3 deep cycles, just enough time to remind the body, without argument, that direction matters exponentially more than immediate release. The mere moment inevitably arrives around day 14, when the physical biology has finally received and accepted the new directive. The face loses its former dullness and regains an internal, defined angularity. The skin holds a quiet, unmistakable inner glow. The voice gains body, slows down, and settles into a deeper truth. The gaze steadies not with aggression, but with the non-negotiable gravity of presence. The signs of this spiritual DNA activation manifest primarily as undeniable shifts in the inner language of the self. Dreams become sharper, more intense, sometimes fully lucid, bring in clear, executable symbols tied directly to the man's mission and inner order. Intuition ceases to be a scattered, unreliable whisper and becomes a clear, usable direction in the accelerated pace of the day. The magnetism of the man who retains is not a spectacle of performance. It is pure gravity. His presence occupies space with unshakable, quiet integrity. He does not ask permission for his existence. He does not force respect. His posture reflects an economy of motion, a readiness, and a centeredness. His speech carries a specific, undeniable weight, and his gaze can sustain silences that organize and align the entire room. People sense this power immediately, often before they can articulate it, because the aura of the force field communicates first. Charisma no longer depends on external approval or desperate validation. It becomes the natural, powerful consequence of inner density. In competitive, high-stakes settings, his energy does not engage in petty disputes. It simply offers the clear, non-negotiable direction. In relationships, his field does not beg for attention or validation. It creates a profound, unassailable safety and stability. The body becomes an antenna and a shield at once. It receives the necessary information that serves purpose and filters. Almost automatically, everything that seeks to disperse or drain. None of this can be learned in theory or through mere reading. The preserved and intentionally guided seed itself confers this sovereign seal. The same principle applies to challenges. They do not magically vanish. but they organize themselves with strange humility before a presence that simply will not negotiate its vertical axis. What once dragged the man down now respectfully invites him to lead. What once aggressively drained his energy now respects his non-negotiable boundaries. Direction becomes a living language, and life fully understands it. The mission of the code bearers is not to wave banners of public abstinence, but to embody a practical, quiet, spiritual leadership. Here, leadership is not performative, superficial influence. It is the capacity to order energetic fields, the field of the family, the team, the community, the projects. The man who guards the seed learns, first and foremost, to educate his own core energy, and in doing so, he inevitably educates his environments without needing to humiliate or coerce anyone. He demands from himself a coherence that he need not demand from others, because his very presence creates patterns that others instinctively imitate. He separates decisive intensity from destructive hurry, genuine courage from reckless impulse, and true authority from coercive control. The intimate, silent vow becomes a public service. Wherever he arrives, he reduces the operational noise, raises the non-negotiable standard, and releases the dormant, untapped power in those around him. This is the only way the seed code truly expands, not through noisy proselytizing, but through the irresistible, undeniable contagion of order. The silent awakening of the God within the man is not a vast, abstract idea. It is a profound, daily habit of self-government that proves its worth moment by moment. You are not striving to become something you are not. You are systematically removing the layers of dispersion that stand between you and the power you already are. By divine design, the breath is the rail. Retention is the ballast. The weighted word is the tool. The focused action is the indelible signature. Each disciplined 21-day cycle stamps a new, higher rung onto the spiral of your ascent, making the next one feel exponentially more natural and inevitable. At a certain point in this journey, the metaphorical language ceases to be figurative and becomes operational fact. You are not merely human. You are the sovereign bearer of the divine seed. And precisely because you bear it, you are morally and energetically compelled to direct it toward your highest purpose. If this video gave you real value, tap the thanks button. Your support helps me keep creating deeper content like this. Every thanks is a spark that keeps this mission alive. Your support means more than you know. The field answers with immediate clarity. People notice your gravity. The mission-critical work organizes itself effortlessly. The harvest is not a random surprise. It is the mature, inevitable meeting of an honored code and a destiny ready to be claimed. You can choose to keep feeding the same old routine that continuously dims your flame, or you can step decisively over the threshold and test. At long last, the magnificent power of a sealed body and an anointed mind. Time is not waiting for your readiness. Life only answers those who decide to act.